Welcome back to the Sage Audio channel. Today we'll be discussing mastering for reggae music. We'll be covering the forms of processing used during a mastering session and how they're used when mastering reggae. Additionally, we'll listen to some examples along the way, so stick around for the full video. But first, if you're an artist, engineer, or producer, and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you gotta do is set up the short account, upload the song, and we can do the rest. First, let's discuss how to equalize a reggae master. The first form of processing in your signal chain should most likely be subtractive equalization. The goal of subtractive equalization is to remove any aspects of the frequency response that you don't find enjoyable, or in the case of reggae, any aspect that doesn't increase the intelligibility and power of the mix. So for example, say that 125 Hz is being occupied by both the bass guitar and kick drum in an excessive way, in turn making the master sound boomy. Now this issue will need to be resolved prior to amplifying the signal, or it will be made worse or exacerbated. With that in mind, we'd attenuate 125 Hz using a stereo bell filter. We could also check to see if these frequencies have been expanded into the stereo image by using a mid-side equalizer. If they have, it might be best to remove them from the side image by using a high-pass filter on the side image. Following this line of thinking, check other frequencies in the mix to see if they're excessive or if more clarity could be evoked by attenuating any of the other frequencies. Now this will take a critical ear, and it will truly depend on the mix that you have. Later on, we'll cover additive equalization. Next, let's cover how to compress a reggae master. The first thing to consider when applying compression to a reggae master is if that compression is needed at all. But let's talk about what to do when you do need compression. What settings should you use, and how drastically should you compress? Well, when compressing a reggae mix, use medium attack and medium release times. Now this will accomplish a couple of things. First, the transients of the snare drum and guitar will be able to pass through the compressor unaffected, but other aspects of the signal will be compressed. And the second is that the compressor will hold on to the signal for a little bit longer, in turn smoothing out the sound of any aspect of the signal that isn't the initial snare or guitar transients. So when the signal passes through the compressor, the longer attack time allows short signals like a guitar scrape or snare drum to pass through without any compression applied. Then the compressor will kick in and attenuate any aspects of the signal that crosses the threshold. But again, this only occurs after the transients have passed through. Once the compression begins, the compressor holds onto the signal for long enough to create a smooth and cohesive sound, but the compressor lets go before the next major transient occurs. As a result, you achieve a smooth sound in between your transients and a transparent sound when the transients occur. Next, let's discuss how to add saturation and distortion to a reggae master. Reggae music is transparent and sports a clean, hi-fi sound. Too much distortion and saturation can easily ruin any transparency or high fidelity that the mix might have. That's why it's best to keep THD or total harmonic distortion under 1% if possible. Now, although most saturation and distortion plugins won't have this type of metering available, even though it would be very helpful, perhaps find one that does when when you're using it for mastering. Furthermore, you may want to use a distortion plugin instead of a saturation plugin. The reason being, saturation is a combination of harmonic generation and soft knee compression, whereas regular distortion only utilizes the latter. So if you're trying to keep compression to a minimum and you've already used compression on your mix, you'll need to keep in mind that saturation will introduce more compression. Additionally, it may be best just to leave this form of distortion up to analog processing. Analog processing introduces the most complex, yet non-abrasive, forms of harmonics. This way you achieve a full sound without creating any unwanted change to the timbre and characteristics of your reggae mix. Next, let's cover how to adjust the stereo image of a reggae master. The stereo image of a reggae master shouldn't be made to be excessively wide, nor should the low frequency range be widened. To achieve an impressive stereo image during a reggae mastering session, use mid-side equalization instead of any delay-based form of stereo widening. Now that said, creating an impressive stereo image can be accomplished during the additive equalization stage of your mastering session. Many engineers use delay-based imaging techniques to create a wide image, and this may work in some genres. However, this will inevitably lead to phase issues in your master, which will in turn cause an unfocused and weak-sounding master. When it comes to reggae music, it's best to keep a fair amount of energy in the middle or center of the image. Spreading or dispersing the energy of your master will cause it to occupy more areas of the stereo image, but it results in it being weaker in all parts of that image. Simply put, if you do choose to widen the stereo image during your mastering session, it's best not to do so excessively or to widen the most powerful aspects of the mix. When possible, the kick and bass, as well as the vocal, should stay relatively mono. Lastly, let's consider how to apply limiting to a reggae master. When applying limiting to a reggae master, the goal is to be as transparent as possible, while pushing the signal into a more commercial level. Ultimately, a good master should be able to be played back on consumer-grade equipment and sound good, but it doesn't sacrifice the detail and character of a mix to do so. And with that said, it's best not to attenuate more than 3 dB when limiting a reggae master. Additionally, use longer attack and a medium release time to ensure that transients aren't affected by the limiter. Granted, you won't be able to completely preserve your transients, however, setting the appropriate attack and release times is a good start. Lastly, if you have a limiter that offers algorithmic settings like the FabFilter L2, then it's best to stick with the transparent settings. This will result in the clearest and most natural sounding limiting. If available, a dynamic or punchy algorithm may also work well, as these will accentuate the dynamics and lead to a more dynamic and transient heavy overall master. So, these are our thoughts on mastering reggae music, but what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you're an artist or an engineer, send us one of your mixes at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. All you have to do is set up the short account, upload the song, and we can do the rest. But thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share this video with your friends. This way we know if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every week, and subscribing is the best way to stay up to date. There's a comment section where you can leave your thoughts on this video, or you can make a suggestion for a future video. And again, if you're an artist or an engineer, and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.